Добрый день, уважаемые дамы и господа. Меня зовут Дмитрий Генельчук, я представляю Белорусский бизнес-центр. Это инициатива, которую реализует Польский Союз Предпринимателей и Работодателей, в рамках которых мы оказываем помощь белорусскому бизнесу в Польше, релоцированному сюда, расширившемуся на этот рынок, работающему здесь, любым компаниям с белорусским капиталом и предпринимателям из Беларуси. Сегодня мы будем проводить вебинар с экспертами в области недвижимости, с компанией Cushman Wakefield. Для нас согласился выступить эксперт в сфере офисной и коммерческой недвижимости Łukasz Kwietniak. Лукаш является в компании, как это на английском называется, Senior Negotiator, старшим по переговорам, старшим специалистом по переговорам и знает, наверное, все про недвижимость в Польше. Поэтому мы крайне благодарны компании Cushman Wakefield, а также Лукашу за то, что нашли сегодня время присоединиться. Мы сделаем сегодня фокус на сектора IT и логистику, но также будет много полезного и для компаний из других секторов. Я напоминаю, что вы можете слушать данный вебинар в нескольких языках. Есть кнопка под названием «Тлумачение устно» или «Interpretation» или «Устный перевод». В зависимости от настроек вашего компьютера вам нужно ее нажать и выбрать, на каком языке вы хотите сегодня слушать мероприятие. Лукаш будет выступать на английском, будет обеспечен перевод на русский язык. Мы рады, что Лукаш нашел сегодня время. Лукаш, я думаю, что без длинных предисловий я передаю вам слово. Спасибо большое.
Добрый день, великий дякую. Thank you for having me here. We'll go through the commercial real estate in Poland with an emphasis on the Warsaw market and the office market, because that's what I do on a daily basis. I have prepared some slides explaining the situation. I hope you will be having some questions in the meantime that maybe you will talk about your concerns or what do you expect. Before this webinar, we managed to do the little survey, online survey. We asked Belarusian companies who were moving to Poland or are moving to Poland currently, and they're on the lookout for an office space in Warsaw, especially. We are working with a few of them. And they give us some surprising results. And therefore, we decided to put another slide, thanks to the information from the survey. What is the biggest differences or the main differences on the Minsk market and the Warsaw market regarding the office real estates? First of all, let me introduce myself once again. My name is Łukasz Kwietniak. I'm with the Cushman & Wakefield office team. I do the T-rep, that means tenant representation. So basically speaking, if you are on the lookout for your office space, you let me know and I'll do the job for you. So without further ado, I'll talk briefly about the plan for the webinar, and then we can go to the details. So we presented 7 parts, little introduction of the company I'm working for, pieces of information about Poland. I'm sure you know most of it, but there might be some interesting facts. Then we go to the office market, how it looks like in Poland, in Warsaw especially. Few words about the Belarusian business in Poland, because what can I say? You are the experts here. And some more about the service lines, what we do for our clients specifically, and most important, the broker's role in all of this process, and why it's good to have a broker and work with one. Then we have a little time reserved for questions and answers. So thank you very much for having me and for joining the webinar. We are going with the presentation. Cushman & Wakefield is one of the 4 top companies in the real estate market, commercial real estate market in globally. We have 52,000 employees worldwide and over 400 offices in 60 countries. So that makes us one of the top performers in the field. We are present in Poland since 1991. It was one of the first Eastern European offices of Cushman to have here. We are currently in 8 cities. We cover all Poland regarding the commercial real estates. And we have over 440 employees in Poland globally. So if there's anything we can do for you in Poland, you'll find a person there. A little bit about the service lines, because that defines really what we do. We have the ability to perform in all the spectrum of whatever considers the real estates. It's about the office. So you have the agents working for you, looking for the office. You have the landlord representation. So if you have an investor who is buying the building in Poland and wants to commercialize it, we also have a team responsible for that side of the business. We are managing the buildings, top-class buildings in Poland, Warsaw. We do the facility management, so everything that takes care about daily life of the building. The investment and asset management, that means if you are interested in buying, obtaining, or selling the real estates in Poland, we have the team that can be your advisors, can do the strategy, then the valuation, and so on. I can talk hours about it, but maybe we have some time for the specific questions on this field. So I'm not going to dwell on this in this time. I wanted to show you some numbers from current time. Why it is good to be in Poland. I bet that Dmitry and ZPP team, they know that this data daily basis, but this is some interesting trends, and what I personally believe will make this market, this Polish market, great opportunity to grow and to have your business here in Poland. Now we have a really small unemployment rate. That means, despite all the things that are happening since 2020, a lot of people coming to Poland, especially from Belarus, from Ukraine, there's still a big demand, as you can see on the number of vacancies. There's a big demand for people to work here in Poland and to deliver business. Some interesting facts, if you are an entrepreneur, how much money you need to spend gross on an employee. There's average costs. As you can see, they are slightly growing. And in December, it hits its peak, but mainly because of the Christmas period. And it's slightly growing. And regarding the situation in European Union, Poland is like top 3. It was data for December 22. Top 3 country, or even equal to Germany regarding the unemployment. So there's a big demand for workforce, and big business opportunities. And if there are any questions to this side, Dmitry?
Нет, в настоящий момент нет вопросов, но мы еще и не перешли к самому горячему именно обсуждению самого рынка недвижимости. Поэтому...
Хорошо. Okay, so the advantages of having a business in Poland. This is, of course, the location. It's close to Belarus. It's in the center of Europe, you may say. It has a good transportation, and it's a fast-growing market. So you see on the previous slides, there's a lot of things to do. Small unemployment, a big demand for employees. We have a great public funding support system, especially with organizations like ZPP or PAIH, which is a Polish agency of investments and trade. They are doing a lot to support Belarusian business as well. We of course are present in the European Union, so this gives us a great access to European markets, which is very important, especially in the transportation and IT sectors. Regarding the IT sectors, we are of course using that personal data system security, that RODO, which is very important if you have worldwide clients and they want to make sure that the data is safe and kept in a safe place. We are the part of this European pact. Then of course we are part of the NATO, which is quite important since the war in Ukraine, and I think that that gives us also a prospect to move our business. We have the friendly environment. I bet that all of you participants, all of you guys have some friends in Poland, and you can feel that there's a lot of understanding, especially person to person, maybe not in a so much of a business transaction, but between people. I really believe it's a great environment, and we can support the transfer process, support the level of government. So I think that Łódź is the city who has the best operation here, helping people to obtain the chance to work here legally. And the ZPP and PAI have a lot to do to help foreigners, and especially people who are coming from Belarus. But not to be so positive. There's of course some risk and some threats which I think you should be aware of, and it's good to know even the worst things before you move on here or plan to build your business in Poland. So we have, of course, the sanctions, and some of the business is quite reluctant to work with Belarusian citizens, and it doesn't matter of which part of Belarus, that just hearing that your business is from Belarus or have Belarusian roots, people don't want to follow that relation, and part of the business, even the bigger companies, don't want to have anything to do with the Belarusian businesses. It's of course difficult in obtaining new fundings, especially for the banks and credits and loans to grow your business. But I know you from ZPP and PAI, they have a really good specialist that are helping people to win this funds and to build the business. And if you are starting a company in Poland, and it doesn't matter if you are in IT sector or whichever sector, you want to have a credit, a loan, on sign a lease for real estates, it's a big possibility that you will find the other side not willing to sign this contract or asking for really high security. So we can discuss about it a bit later. And there's of course a great differences in taxes and insurance law and in labor law, which is good to be prepared and find a specialist in each of the fields before you start doing business in Poland. Every time we have an operation and doing the process with Belarusian or Ukrainian business, there's always difficulty in understanding what one side thinks and how it works in Warsaw. It's pretty different thing in Minsk, in Warsaw. I give you a few words about the context of the office market in Poland and in Warsaw. So if you have some questions, please let me know. This is the presentation summarizing the whole office market in Poland. It's some big numbers. I will talk about few of them, like a net take-up and absorption and vacancy rate, because I think that's are the most important for today. So the net take-up, almost 1 million square meters, is a difference between 2021 and 2022. How much new space was leased or acquired in that time? So it's really big number. 1 million square meters of a new transactions was done in 2022, even though it was a period of post-COVID unsurety of what did happen, and lately the war in Ukraine. We have the supply, which gives us a number of new office space that was given to lease for 2022. That number is quite impressive, especially knowing that part of the constructions was put on hold on the plans of the new buildings were put on hold because of the situation regarding COVID. And we have the vacancy rate, which is the number of empty spaces in the buildings, in the office buildings. So it's pretty same as in 2021, which is a good sign regarding that the office supplies it's not so good, and everybody who wants to have an office in a decent place in a new building still has a chance to do it. But the market is shrinking, and because of the not so much new office buildings being taken over, it's a good thing to know that the market will shrink this way. And we have the same numbers for Warsaw, which is really quite representing the total situation in Poland. So as you can see, Warsaw market is responsible for more than a half take-up in a whole country. But the situation is with the supply is quite different. It's got the red minus numbers because of what I've said previously, the low number of newly constructed buildings and the growing demand on the market. And the vacancy rates, so this is how much free space of available space is left in the buildings in Warsaw. It's really low number. So that indicates that the people who are looking for the new office, a decent office in Warsaw, really need to start searching as soon as possible. And on the slide, we have quite interesting information regarding the prices and the trends for this year and the next years. I know that when we were talking with Dmitry before the webinar, it was one of the most interesting information of how much money do we really need to plan for having an office in Warsaw and in cities in Poland. So as you can see, there's a big difference even between the districts of Warsaw, very high prices comparing to the outsides of the or outskirts of the city. And this is one of the things that came from the survey, that people are really surprised that there's such a difference between the city, the central districts and the outskirts of Warsaw. So it's more or less between Warsaw and the regional cities. I think that if you be interested in some details regarding of what, why, and how to copy and deal with these numbers, I'll be glad to talk about it a little bit more at the end. And a few important information about the situation of office market in Warsaw. So we are facing the supply gap in the forthcoming years, because there's a tendency of coming back to the office. The companies are growing. The people are from Belarus and from Ukraine. The business needs to get going. So everybody wants to have a nice place to work. and we'll be facing the interesting times ahead of us. So we have some solutions and few advices on how to deal with it, but we'll go to this a bit later. What is very important and good to know before we start operation is that the rents will rise, will grow, and that's because of the situation, of course, on the European market and world market, and the inflation, and the issues with the chain of supplies. That's the things that hits it the most. What you should expect when you're negotiating the lease in the Polish market is that since 2020, the landlords, the owners of the building, are not willing to sign short-term leases. So before 2020, 3 or 4 years lease was nothing strange. And now for the new buildings, a lot of landlords doesn't want to negotiate leases under 3 years. This is something that we too have some solutions, and I would like to tell you more about it a bit later. Here's an interesting information. So once again, please.
Лукаш, там не было никакого вопроса, это, скорее всего, просто задержка в переводе, лаг времени, поэтому можем спокойно продолжать.
All right. One of the main differences that our friends told us and showed us between the Polish and Belarusian market is that the price of the real estate, especially regarding the office, but the same goes to the industrial and retail, it's split between some parts. We have the few parts of the payment. You need to remember that the basic rent is always in euros. Sometimes you can find it in Polish currency, but it's usually in the older buildings or buildings that are owned by the private person. There's like a micro market, really. We have an add-on factor. It goes between 4 and 10%, and it tells us what is the difference between the area you are using in your office plus the common spaces of the buildings, like the elevators or the staircases, because you are paying the price for the area you are using, like you can say carpet area or the net area, increased by the add-on factor of each building. So it's always good to take a look on the information how big add-on factor is, because it will increase your invoices. Payments are, as a rule of thumb, monthly in advance. Sorry, and the lease term used to be 3 years. That was nothing unordinary, but now 5-year lease contract is something you must count or face when you are thinking about having your long operation in Poland, especially in Warsaw. The landlords always charge a deposit. There is amount of money which you are given as a security for the building. So I don't want to get to details because time flies, and we can always talk about it case by case. We have the indexation of the rate based on the European Union index, which increases the base rent year by year. So if you are signing a contract for 10 euros in 2022, after the indexation the next year, you will need to take under consideration that it will always be increased by that indexation value. But on the other hand, what is the really good thing to know that when you come to the landlord and talking about the contract, you of course talk about the price, about the length of the contract, but you have something like incentives. That means that the landlord is also fighting for the tenants. So if they want to have somebody who is paying them rent, they need to prepare the offices for them. So we have the budget to finish the office. If you have the sheller code, I mean the space is empty. It's just concrete and iron. You need to build the whole building, the whole office, and for that you have some amount of money for every square meter that the owner of the building, the landlord, is paying in your name, let's say, to finish the building. That of course needs a negotiation, needs the knowledge of what can we achieve in each case. But it's good to know that you can ask or be prepared that you can negotiate the money that is paid by the landlord to finish the office. As you can see that we also have the service charges. There's a part of the price you are paying for the office, and it's not the landlord's earning. The service charges are paid to cover all the costs of functioning the building, especially electricity, water. So every building regarding its efficiency has a different prices, which is very important now, especially from the beginning of the year, since the cost of electricity went skyrocketing. We can see on the Warsaw market that it really makes a difference how environmental friendly or how energetically efficient is the building, because the prices can vary even 100%. And also we have the special next basically price for parking spaces, and on top of this is the VAT tax. And now for the solution of the issues you can have when you think about relocating and moving to Poland, you have few options to acquire an office. Let's say in Warsaw. I think that you all know the IT company, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Belarusian IT companies, and they have a few offices in Poland. So when they first thought about moving to Poland, they of course planned it long ahead. So they were talking about regular lease, and they start negotiating. But what you need to expect when signing the long-term regular lease contract is exactly the long term, and it's not made in a day or in a week. The process of negotiating the contract of the office and then fitting it out, it takes up to 18 months. So it's a really time-consuming thing. But what you can win because of that commitment and this time you are spending is a really tailor-made office. It's finished up to your liking. You have all the open spaces, the kitchen, the furniture, all is made directly to your needs. Sorry, I need to put the energy in my computer.
Пока Лукаш подключает электроэнергию, я бы хотел обратить внимание всех участников, что мы уже поделились ссылкой на официальный сайт Cushman Wakefield в чате нашего мероприятия. Также мы сбросили туда ссылки на социальные сети Белорусского бизнес-центра, где можно найти информацию о других таких же бесплатных мероприятиях для белорусского бизнеса, где мы рассказываем о том, как вести бизнес в Польше. Лукаш, передаю слово обратно.
All right, thank you so much. So yeah, we start with the tailor-made. You have to take into account and that for that regular lease, you have all the components of the price, and the process of negotiating it's quite complex. So usually good to have the broker who is familiar with this environment and knows how to read the contracts and knows where to set their eyes on. Yeah. So this is for the companies who plan to stay for a long time and build their headquarters in the Polish market in the long run. But what to do if you want to have an office in Poland, you want to open your business here, and you don't have 18 months time to wait for your office to be handled to you. So we have two solutions. One of them is very popular. We have a lot of clients from Belarus for the sublease contracts. What is characteristic for the sublease? It doesn't have to be concluded for 3 and 10 years. Last time we signed a contract for 12 months, which was good for the client because he didn't want to commit for a longer time regarding the situation and the uncertainty of what will be after a couple of months building the business in Poland. There's always a price, asking price for the sublease, which is competitive to the building price. So if you have, let's say, asking price 20 euros from the building, the sublease will always be better, let's say 17, 18, 15 euros, depending on the area. So it's the second advantage. You also have the different components of the price, like in the regular lease, but because the pattern and the contract looks basically the same. The main difference here, besides the flexibility, is the fit out. So in your regular lease, when you're building your own office, you do exactly what you need to do. And in the sublease, you need to fit yourself in the fit out that is already made for the company who owned this the office before. So it's an issue because if you are looking for an open space and you have an office for the sublease in good localization, and it only has the separate rooms, then it's time to negotiate what can be done here. And the third most important thing that the clients indicated is that office for the sublease is available in a short term and is usually furnished and has all the equipment, so you don't need to spend extra money to buy the furniture and refrigerators and stuff that needs to be in the office. So it's really recommended for big companies who need their office quick and need some privacy, because in the third option you have the flex and co-working areas, which are quite different because for once they are designed for the shorter period of time, usually 12 months or even unspecified time. There's only one case that you have something like notice period, so you can have the unspecified time of the contract with 1, 2, or 3 months notice, which is really comfortable and safe for the companies that are smaller and needs that flexibility because they are unsure of what will happen within the next few months. So they don't need to tie themselves with regular lease for 3 or 10 years. They have full flexibility. They have the one payment, which is usually paid by the workstation, I mean the desk for one employee. You have all this furniture you can have in a regular office. You have the community, which for I think some companies is beneficent, but for others, especially who needs to protect their data, may be an issue. You have both the options of separate rooms and open space available. There's a lot of this on the also in the Polish market, so it's a really good option for the small companies who need to have their office to grow the team and to look around for the future. But some companies are using the flex providers of co-working offices like etai. They negotiated the lease contract with the landlord, and in the meantime they were building their team in the flex office that was available in the same building or in the close proximity. So when the office was finished and they could move in, the people were already knowing the area, the neighborhood, so they felt really comfortable. So there's three main options of the renting an office in Poland. And here we have Dmitry.
Да.
Is it the good picture of Minsk here?
Yeah, it's quite nice. Да, это очень красивый снимок, вполне себе.
Okay, that's great. Here we put up the information from the survey, and here we're showing you the main differences between Minsk and Warsaw market, which were quite surprising for me, I must say. I didn't expect, especially the length of the process in the real estate office market to be that different. But that shows us how important it is to ask questions and listen and share the knowledge, because now we are more prepared to serve and to hear the clients from Minsk, from Belarus, their needs, and it will be easier for us to indicate the differences and to show what can we do to overwhelm that some obstacles. So the length of the process is one of the factors that was presented as the most in the answers. The second was the price, but I see the tendency, the more to the west we are going, the prices are really growing significantly. So the situation in Warsaw is not so different from the situation in Czech Republic, but it's quite different from the situation in Germany and France and so on.
Лукаш, я хотел отнять у вас буквально одну секундочку времени и сказать, что у нас уже поступило порядка 4 вопросов. Были также вопросы, которые в форме регистрации люди задавали. И я бы перешел к ним позже в конце, но просто я хотел нашим участникам, которые их задали, сказать, что не переживайте, в конце вебинара мы обязательно с Лукашем по всем этим вопросам пройдем и ответим на каждый. И отдаю вам слова обратно.
Okay, that I won't miss because that's my favorite part. Can we proceed?
Да.
Хорошо. The next main difference, as I mentioned before, is that we have really many actors on the stage. That means we have the client, of course, we have the building or the building owner, which is the main parts, but we have the agencies that represent the client and the building, so that makes 4 already. And within the building owners, we have in Warsaw, especially in big cities in Poland, new modern high-class office buildings, or the industrial or the retail markets, they are owned by the international funds. So we have few participants. We need to communicate with each other and gather the information and pass them to the clients, which is, of course, one of the factors why the processes are so long. Another thing that was pointed out is the price difference in Warsaw itself, as I told you before, and we have a lot of differences regarding the where the office is in Warsaw. Is it near the metro station? Is it in the area close to the airport? Is it has many parking spaces, or for the transport companies or logistics companies is very important to be close to the highways. So that all taken into account gives us the final price. What was nice that the quality of the offices in Warsaw was pointed out as a good thing. Thank you for that. And people who answered the survey were surprised that we have that many tools to negotiate the price. So we have the rent-free periods. That means that if you negotiate well, you can have a couple of months that you are not paying the base rent. We have these fit-out budgets and other incentives. And the last thing was that the amount of the broker fee and the information who pays it. That because of in European and Polish market, it's as a rule of thumb that the client is not paying for the transaction process. That remuneration is covered by the landlord. We have many other services that require, of course, payment, but for this basis transaction things that what I and my team we are doing, the broker fee is covered by the landlord. So you can have basically the office with no paying to the agent. And a couple of things that are mostly negotiated during the process. What you should know if you go to the landlord, that you can negotiate the fit-out budget. You can surely negotiate the payment of the invoice terms. You should always negotiate technical issues like a server room, logotype, and other stuff that are used on a daily basis in the office. And that rent-free period, which I wasn't aware that a lot of people doesn't know that there's such a thing. So, and of course, you can negotiate the price with all those tools. And here are the things that are no-goes, and no landlord would want and change this in the contracts. So especially now when the prices of energy are so high, you cannot fix the service charges for the time of the contract, because they are increasing, and all the tenants in the buildings are basically paying for the electricity. As it grows, you just need to spend more money. So this is something that landlords won't negotiate. And the other things is the security and the deposit, especially in the case of new companies or the companies who has poor financial standings. You can negotiate some part of it, but they always need to, the landlords and the funds who own the buildings need to be secure that the money will flow and they will not be left with nothing. Here are my favorite parts, some things that were very new for me. I haven't realized that Belarusians are the second most represented group of foreigners in Poland. It's an honor to work with you. We have around 5,000 companies, Belarusian companies, registered in Poland as we speak. We have over 50,000 people with valid permits, so it's a really great number. And in this business, the most represented medium and big companies are logistics and IT. I knew about IT and the power of Belarusian IT companies, but I hadn't got idea that logistics and transportation is so powerful. Dmitry also made a great article about it. So it's you live and learn. So in Poland, for the Belarusian companies, you have really, really good chances to develop, to grow, and it doesn't surprise me that the amount of businesses is increasing. And it is estimation that 1,500 new companies, new Belarusian companies, will be opened only this year in Poland. So this is amazing. And why Belarusians are winning the market? is a high quality of the services and a high standards that everybody who is cooperating with Belarusian business is saying that, and it really helps to make your name and to grow. What is always important? You have clear rules and equal chances and a stable market that is part of European Union. I think that's factors that should be taken under consideration. And of course, what we can do and what Poland is doing for Belarusian businesses is the legalization of stays, which I said it before, the city of Łódź is a great example of this cooperation. We are sharing the knowledge and giving a consultation, like Belarusian Business Center is a great example of it. We have a networking events and chances to shake hand with everybody and talk with and ask for advice, sharing knowledge. And we have the support of authorities, local and nationwide, so, and a business organization. So I think that it's a good first step. And few things that I want to share from my perspective, of course, why this is a good idea to have an office in Poland, not especially in Warsaw, but really in Poland, that especially guys from IT, you have a great reputation all over the world. And I know some of the companies, they are great specialists and fantastic people. You have international customers, which you can develop more in Poland. On the other hand, you have a great access to the specialists and the new employees from the Polish universities. Almost everybody is fluent with the English. I think that's and hardworking people too, and we like to share and learn. For the logistics companies, you really have the competitive rates, so this is a good chance to grow. You have good or great relation beyond the Poland eastern border, which is very important, especially now. You have the same business conditions as the Polish companies or European companies, and you have a great experience in the industry, as I learned a couple of days back. So this is really good place to grow and to build the markets and develop. And for all the other branches and businesses, there's a great market and development in the European market. You have the business support, you have the safe relocation procedures, and the possibility of personal and professional development. So I think the cooperation with Polish and European companies is like a natural way for Belarusian business. I think we are starting to run out of time, so I briefly talk about the service lines on an example of office team. Is what we basically do for our clients once we start talking. So it's the first phase, whether it is office or industrial or the retail market or the capital markets, we do the investigation and gather the information. So Dmitry, I need to find another source of energy. I need to excuse you for a second.
Да, без проблем. Мы пока участникам анонсируем последующие мероприятия, которые будут проходить в Белорусском бизнес-центре в ближайшие месяцы. Давайте начнем с того, что 4 мая у нас состоится совместное мероприятие с Белорусским клубом IT-компаний, на которое приглашаются исключительно представители IT-сферы. Большая часть наших остальных мероприятий открыта для компаний всех секторов, но в данном случае мы приглашаем только представителей из сферы IT. В основном там мы ожидаем директоров, владельцев и HR-директоров компаний, так как этап будет посвящен работе в распределенных командах. Также у нас пройдет вебинар с юридической фирмой ПКС Литер на тему авторских прав и того, какие льготы в Польше
All
можно
right.
получить.
I got some issues with the energetics.
Пока Лукаш разбирается, я продолжу. Значит, еще также будет вебинар для тех, кто создает объекты авторского права, о том, как можно использовать законодательные инструменты в Польше для того, чтобы увеличить вашу зарплату нетто, при этом сохраняя тот же объем брутто. Для этого существует целый ряд инструментов, и многие категории создателей объектов авторского права, там, фотографы, люди искусства, дизайнеры, инженеры, компании в сфере IT, конечно же, им это будет крайне полезно, поскольку поможет сэкономить в издержках на персонал. И, Лукаш, я передаю слово обратно.
Yeah, thank you. So, like Bear Grylls, adapt and overcome. Okay, briefly, we are doing the investigation. That means getting all the information, all the data from the clients, asking them what are the plans, what are the possibilities, what they want their office to look like. We do the research. Second phase is the execution. That means we are negotiating the contract and all the things regarding the price, the terms, the equipment. And the third phase is we are taking care about the execution. So if you sign the contract, we are there for you to see how the fit-out works are going, and if any condition or all the conditions are kept by the second side. More on this, if you want to know, I will gladly share the information. Two more things that are very important here from the perspective of the agent. The office market research and transaction management are the main services. So this is the scope which is covered by the remuneration, which I told you earlier, the broker fee. All that other jobs, works, or the things we do according to the client's needs, the price is agreed between the sides. So we do the workout support, we do the consultancy, HR and ESG, technical. There's a lot of business lines. I think that we don't have much time to talk about all of them, but I will gladly share more information with you. And here is a bit more information about why the process, which was so surprisingly for the Belarusian companies we work with, why it all takes so much time. So we have the phase before signing contract. You can see in months usually how much it takes time for each part. You have the market research, analysis, technical consultancy. It can take about 3 months. You have the strategy and project management, design. It usually takes 6 months. And then when you sign the contract, and before you take over the space, the office or the production area, there's a feed out, delivery and building, and all the things that we do in the meantime. So bear in mind that it's hard to have a new office or the industrial area within a week or two.
Да, мне кажется, это довольно шокирующая информация для представителей белорусских компаний, чтобы понять, что так длительное такое время может занимать поиск офиса. Лукаш, ну что, может, потихонечку будем передвигаться к вопросам? Мне кажется, у нас уже настает потихоньку время для этого.
Okay, so we always have this in the office area, these sublease and flex spaces to fit the time between having your own office and coming to Poland. But it's always good to talk one-on-one because, well, let's be honest that every company, every situation is slightly different. So before we advise on anything, we first like to listen and then check out what are the requirements, what is the story behind, because it's good to take a look on the office or the industrial area as a tool. So it should be efficient, it should make you more productive, and in the end your company should earn more money. So I advise to always take a look at the space, the office space, as a tool to get you closer to your goal. And a few words about what does the broker do in this process. So we are learning. We are learning about your needs and your demands, and then we can do the strategy. And it always works best if there's an individual approach, because even the companies from the same sector, IT, logistics, building, even the real estates, each company has a different culture, different needs, and behind every company there's a person who has its goals, and we really need to understand that person to be able to do the next step. Then we do the market research. Thanks to our databases, we send the request for informations, and we do the tools. So it's always a chance to take a look and touch the office, see it with your own eyes. And then we do the analysis of data, because even if you like the office, you like the area, there's always an Excel file behind every process. So the numbers need to be correct. And then basing of this information we acquired earlier, we do the recommendation, and we recommend some actions. So that's basically what is our role here. And the budget is always good to know. How does the remuneration looks like? So it's the transaction management is usually covered by the landlord. There are some cases that companies want to pay from their own pocket or equal the price, but what you need to know, searching an office in Warsaw, in Poland, that the money for the broker advice, for the broker's fee, is usually paid by the landlord with whom you are signing the contract. So I guess that's all for today. I hope you have some questions.
Да, спасибо, Лукаш. Ну, нет, это все-таки не все на сегодня. Давайте ответим еще на вопросы наших участников. Итак, начнем с вопроса...
All from the presentation.
Начнем с вопроса такого довольно специфического, который нам задали про государственную аренду помещений в рамках конкурсов. Можете ли вы в двух словах рассказать про этот инструмент, как он вообще работает, есть ли по этому инструменту какие-то хорошие офисы, и, может быть, можно получить какие-то льготные условия? И... Да.
Well, usually the state, you mean the government or local government area? Yeah, okay.
Да.
Yeah, this is possible, but it's not quite often, because all the government type of companies, they usually have their own specialists from the real estate, and they putting much effort to into the process, and they are calculating the numbers very clearly. So if you want to lease the office from the type of company, it is possible, but it really needs a specific approach and a knowledge, and usually you need to have some like business case behind this need. So because of the sensitivity of the data, they usually not willing to do this kind of deals.
Хорошо, понятно. Спасибо большое, Лукаш. Тогда вот дальше у нас пара вопросов как раз-таки про ставки в Варшаве и в Кракове, про цены. Один из наших гостей, Иван, спрашивает, вообще возможно ли снять офис в центре Варшавы, вот в этих красивых офисных зданиях? У него всего 20-40 сотрудников в компании, от 20 до 40. Он спрашивает, реально ли снять такой офис по цене, скажем, 15 евро за квадрат? Или это очень мало и стоит закладывать больше для центра Варшавы?
Frankly, you should focus on higher rent, but is again case by case situation. If you want to have contract for 10 years, it's always possibility to negotiate, because we have a difference between the headline, which can be 20 euros, and with all these incentives, all these rent-free periods, when you calculate the rent throughout the whole period, it gives you effective rent, which can be really lower. And I don't know if 15 euros is still achievable in this top buildings, but you can have an office for 20-50 people in the Warsaw city center with this price. Yes, this is possible, but it maybe not the newest one who were delivered this year or last year.
Да, я понял. То есть как бы цена не за самый топ-уровень. Хорошо, а тут у нас вот как раз-таки коллеги из транспортных компаний подключились и спрашивают вообще, насколько сложен сейчас рынок поиска транспортных баз, чтобы нужно помещение, площадь, чтобы создать транспортную базу. И насколько сейчас это сложно. Вы говорили, что нужно, конечно же, доступ к хайвеям, к скоростным трассам, и, в принципе, какая сейчас там ситуация?
Well, if you are working with the agency, Cushman or any big company, they have all the data in the database. So usually, like we in the office team, our colleagues in the industrial team, they know about such a places, and it's always good to ask for an advice. Is there at all that possibility on the market? What is the price? How much time will it take? And what are the conditions you need to deliver? So I recommend asking a broker, industrial broker, about the possibilities. I'm pretty sure that still in Poland you can find something which is achievable, and it doesn't take 2 years to do it.
Понятно, спасибо большое. Хорошо, а вот тут вопрос про совсем микрокомпанию, Лукаш. То есть не знаю, насколько вы работаете с такими кейсами и знаете, но, возможно, сталкивались. Говорят, что хотят снять маленький офис вообще размером с квартиру в центре Варшавы, там 10-30 квадратов вообще для пары человек буквально, работающих как предприниматели в сфере IT. Это как бы вы посоветовали искать офис? Вот такой маленький для нескольких человек. Это лучше самим, тут же явно не через брокер.
Again, this, yeah. It really depends on what your plans are. If you want to have like this small 2-5 people company, and that's the end, you don't plan to grow, or you think about development, there's whole different strategies. But of course, if you have like an apartment or small office in the B or C class buildings, you don't really need to have the broker. But bear in mind that things that we talked about today, it's always good to at least try to negotiate the price, try to negotiate the fit out, try to negotiate the other incentives. And if you are using the broker's advice because you are planning to grow or thinking about expanding or moving to more prime location, it's good to start talking with the broker, learn from them and see how the market works, see the Excel files, and know your opportunities, because you can have the co-working space with business environment, or you can have very private small apartment on the outskirts of Warsaw, and it will not cost you more, but it will not give you any chance to cooperate or to build a business relationship. So it always it is possible, yes, but it's always good to think about the next steps and what you want to achieve, especially in the IT business, which likes the business environment and the networking.
Да, это правда так. Спасибо большое, Лукаш. Буквально последние пару вопросов остались, и будем уже потихонечку подходить к концу. Спрашивают, кстати, наши участники, а поделитесь ли вы своими контактными данными? Мы еще ваш email не показали в рамках данной презентации.
Of course, I got it prepared on my last slide.
Окей, замечательно. Тогда последние вопросы. Значит, спрашивают, а какова, в принципе, цена услуг брокера? Ну, может, если вы не можете сказать точно, хотя бы диапазон. Это там стоимость 1 месяца аренды, 3 месяцев аренды, полмесяца аренды.
We have this information here, and it considers the cooperation in the a real estate process. When you have the client, you have the building, you represent the client. I mean, like I'm representing the client, and we are signing the contract for 3 years. The usual rate, which is paid by the building, not by the client, is 1 month fee for the office. So yeah, and for the longer periods, it can be even the 3 months rent for 1 month of the office.
Отлично. А в каких случаях не здание платит, а в каких случаях платит клиент сам? Можете такие случаи объяснить тогда?
Well, yes, it does exist. When you have the small agencies, or you're really looking for the small office, there's plenty of agents who are doing the work for you. But this is the main difference. If you are working with this A-class buildings owned by the international funds, they are, let's say, playing the same game. So they understand that for that effort at the job, the usual rate is paid by the landlord. But if you have the older building, or the building which is owned by the private person, there's not an usual way to be paid by them. So then if you are having a broker and looking for the smaller office or the B-class office, you may need to prepare yourself to that he will ask you for the remuneration, but he should always be frank with you if he charges the landlord or if he charges you when you are starting the cooperation. So it's a good thing to ask who will pay the broker fee. And the second thing, when the client is paying the broker fee, it is usually in the big international transactions. So some of the companies, usually based in the United States, production companies, they are paying the broker's fee because in their policy is that they shouldn't be, how to put it in words, they shouldn't be dependent on the market, and the opinion is if they pay the broker's remuneration, the broker will only think about the good of the client and not be deceived by some landlords who maybe will wish to pay him more.
Окей, да, смысл полностью понятен.
There are two different approaches that I'm familiar with.
Понял, спасибо, Лукаш. Тогда финальный вопрос. Кстати, довольно типичную ситуацию описывают в этом вопросе. Такая вот, наверное, самая средняя белорусская IT-компания, которых здесь нет, ну вот буквально 100 штук, может даже 150 таких компаний белорусских здесь есть в Польше. Какова, спрашивают, нижняя возможная цена за офис А-класса для небольшой IT-компании, небольшой IT-команды на 30-40 человек. Вот в абсолютных цифрах этот офис сколько может стоить? 10 тысяч евро, 50 тысяч евро в месяц условно. И спрашивают про города такие, как Варшава и Краков. То есть небольшая IT-компания, 30-40 человек, А-класс. Каков нижний стартовый уровень цен?
It's a good question, but again, you just cannot answer it with one sentence. Our job is to listen to the client and in the first phase to present the list of options. So if the person who is asking the question will ask me, we have budget of this and this size for such an amount of employees, let's say 30 people. So that indicates we need to look for an office around 300 square meters, because it's for one person in the team that works in the office is usually counted 10 square meters. So for 30 people, you need 300. For 50 people, you need more or less 500 square meters to have the desks, meeting rooms, and all that layout. And then we check the market, because you must understand that the base price, base rent, it's not the will not give you the outcome. You need to consider the service charges, which are different in buildings. So you have two buildings that have the same rent, let's say 15 euros, but in one building you are paying 4 euros for the service charges, and in the other you're paying 7 or 8 euros. And I don't know them by heart, so that's why the database and the analysis come in hand. So if you have that question, if you want to learn more details, please call me, send me an email. I will prepare gladly some short comparison, and you will have the idea of how it works in Warsaw, and I will ask my colleagues in Krakow to send the same information. Because we are that I forget to mention, and I think, Dmitry, this is very important for our guests today. When you should use the broker's help in office or industrial or retail. So we can offer help for the small, medium, and big companies. If you are a micro company, you are employing 10, 8 people. It usually goes better when you go to the journey on your own and find a solution, maybe with small agencies or directly. And when it comes to the big companies, small companies, they usually plan to develop, to hire more people, and that relationship that is built on the beginning is really, from my perspective, very fruitful. And if you earn trust one person to another, it will always go the good way.
Понял, Лукаш, спасибо огромное. Ну что, тогда перейдем к слайду с контактами вашими, а я в свою очередь хотел поблагодарить всех наших участников. У нас сегодня на пике было порядка 30 компаний, сейчас уже чуть меньше в сегодняшнем мероприятии. Мы также поделимся презентацией с сегодняшнего мероприятия и ее записью с участниками. Спасибо огромное, Łukasz Kwietniak, компания Cushman Wakefield, брокеры, которые занимаются офисной и индустриальной недвижимостью в Варшаве и по всему миру. Спасибо огромное, Cushman, что помогаете белорусским клиентам, и благодарим вас за вебинар. На этом мы будем заканчивать. Всем хорошего дня.
Thank you so much. Доброго дня.